My name is Brian Acevedo, and I don't believe that one can sum up an individual with one experience. But if I were to try, I would boil myself down to that feeling I get before every standardized test. I fill in my name and I get antsy. Then the birth date, and I feel invigorated. Suddenly, a burst of emotion comes forth. My chest pops out as I get to ethnicity and write Hispanic Latino. You didn't guess that, did you? Yeah, I'm a proud Puerto Rican. But it's not just that I'm proud of my ethnicity. It's that I know the effort I put in to my schoolwork will pay off when I do well and raise the statistic showing that intelligence is colorblind. This is my cause and I fight for it. I don't know why I do this. Maybe it's because of that arbitrary conversation I have with many, far too many elderly white ladies. What's your name, son? They might ask. I'm Brian Acevedo. Oh, gee, that's exotic. Where are you from? They always ask that, and I always answer, well, I'm a New Yorker, but my parents are from Puerto Rico. Then they say something that baffles me to this day, every time. Oh, you speak English so well. Dang. Or maybe the reason for this self-inflicted struggle stems from my childhood. My parents weren't around very much. They worked. But every night before bed, my dad would call and tell me a story. Always one about a hero finding something he loves and fighting for it till the end. These stories taught me how to live, how to treat girls, and how to be a man. Unfortunately, that sort of tutelage comes at a price. For that Superman complex we all have as children hasn't left me to this day. For example, I'll look at an almost superhuman like Michael Phelps and logically say to all of you, man, he's the best. But in the back of my mind, I might say, you know, I've never timed myself swimming before. I never needed to show off like that. The introduction of martial arts into my life only reaffirmed that complex. With every brick I broke, fight I won, and bully that I stood up to, and there were a bunch, served to reaffirm the belief that I could do no wrong. Until I moved to a place in upstate New York called Geneva, where I was no longer the nerdy, light-skinned Latino, I was the Latino. And the first day, a tall, older kid came up to me. He was Caucasian, just like everyone else, and he greeted me. Asiv, Aka, avocado. Wow, you're one of the whitest spics I've ever met. Uh-oh. I thought of all the bullies in my past that have hospitalized me more than once. My heart beat fast, and I feared that everyone in the room would be there after school to teach me a very bloody lesson instead of just 2 or 3 thugs. So I panicked, knowing all too well that this moment would dictate the rest of my survival here. So I responded in a way that I'll always regret. Bang! He hit the floor hard and fast, second only to every mouth in the room. You see, apparently, fighting wasn't really done in Geneva. And one day I failed at my battle against stereotypes. But even worse, as my dad put it, I got to read this. You disgrace the name that your mother and I worked our whole lives to make, starting in the poor areas of Puerto Rico to the barrios of Brooklyn, and finally graduating medical school to become the American dream. Why would you dent something you carry with you your whole life? With my school afraid of me, my teachers wary of me, my parents disappointed in me, and me hating myself, I felt like no one would accept me. Until I met a nun from my school that worked in an area of New York City that made mine look like, well, Hamilton. She taught me God accepted a man named Saul, a tax collector or bully, just like I had become. The next day I went up to that freshly black-eyed kid and I said I was sorry. I told him my story, which he actually found interesting. He had me tell a lot of other people, which made me a bunch of friends. who introduced me to volunteer work. Now it wasn't only seeing my name on honor roll or filling in a dot signifying my culture. It was every good deed I did or amount of money I raised that aided my cause. But soon it was my time to leave high school, and I had to find a place that I could go to have pride for, to stand up for. And as a freshman, I thought no school had more pride than Colgate. And I had inadvertently found a new cause to fight for, to represent. And that's all of you. But now I'm a sophomore, and unfortunately, I've seen the worst of Colgate. Judgment, self-entitlement, and pardon me, but just plain douchebags. But I've seen something else too. I saw the teacher who served as therapist and tutor for me when I went through one of the roughest times of my life. The random lacrosse guys who helped my buddy push his broken down car to the obscenely far away freshman lot. The girl who stays up long past her bedtime to make chemistry look a little less like Mandarin to me. And much more. These people are the people that I'll fight for and that I'll represent to the best of my ability. This is where I make my stand. I want that teacher, those guys, and that girl to be represented and respected as much as they deserve by any stranger who happens to meet me, the light-skinned Puerto Rican raider who, yes, speaks English so well. Thank you for your time, and go Colgate.